Sooner Nation, what is up? Happy Thursday evening. Welcome to the Sooner Surge for a little injury update, injury report for OU versus Kansas, another 11 a.m. kick, this one on the Fox Sports Network. If you are not subscribed to the Sooner Surge, go ahead, go to our YouTube channel, click subscribe, and be a part of what's happening here at the Sooner Surge. Turn on those notifications, like, comment, drop us some ratings here on the Sooner Surge. So, yeah, time to get to the injury report for OU versus Kansas. A guy we'll start with, Jay, McCade Metoyer, last week against UCF. Surprisingly, I think, probably for most is, and maybe you didn't even notice, he was on the extra point team and coverage there to block. So I think that we can expect probably that again. I myself do not expect McCade Metoyer to be healthy enough to go on the offensive line. I think that was more rehab-ish, getting him out there on that ankle. But you got a lot of weight on that ankle. I don't look for him to be 100% healthy and ready to go on the offensive line. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I don't expect to see him out there. I think it's just I think they're going to try to ride with Bird maybe in that position, or who am I missing there last week that played? I drew a blank, but Bird kind of looked really good in the second half. I think they're going to go with Bird. I don't think to me, you don't rush McCade back. I mean, you should be able to beat Kansas without McCade Metoyer. So why rush him back, right? Who was I missing on that right side? Who'd they put in there? Was it Everett didn't play? So
Caleb Schaefer.
That's the other one. Yeah, Schaefer.
Caleb Schaefer played, but Bird was obviously more physical than Schaefer was last week.
I think they're going to ride that. So I don't expect McCade to play this week. I would be shocked probably if he played much or at all, really.
Yeah.
So one guy though that I would like to talk about, because I think, and he did play last week, and he's getting better and better and more healthy. I think he's pretty much back, and that's R. Mason Thomas, a guy that we heard so much about in the offseason. I think he's ready to go, and I think he's gonna make an impact on this game and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. As he gets healthier, as he gets a lot more playing time, he should increasingly get better. Provides that depth on the outside where they can rotate 3-4 guys. Another guy on the outside was Ethan Downs, who last week went down with looks like the nagging groin injury. Have not heard officially if he's a go or no go, but I expect Ethan Downs to be out there. He was on the bike last week during that game, probably trying to work that out. I'm sure he got a lot of treatment this week and expect him to play. Another guy on the defensive side of the ball that was, according to reports and post game and all that, was in a boot after the game was Peyton Bowen. I think he played 5 to 7 snaps last week, but yeah, looks like I think he'll be good to go. How much? That's up in the air, Jay.
Yeah, and I saw the podcast with Helms and Nick Anderson. He had that boot on, and it's just one of those things. We're not going to know anything on that probably till maybe game day to see how much, because it was kind of one of those deals that even last week we didn't know anything about it. When during the game we were like, "Where's Bowen?" And so it was kind of a surprise. But I think even Brent Venables might have been surprised on his press conference. He said he was like, he looked up and saw Bowen out on the field, and I was like, "Oh, he's out there." So yeah, I really hope he's good to go, because the guy's just a huge impact player and makes big time plays. And really hope to see him out there on Saturday. One thing, though, on that defensive backfield, Kenai Walker I think he should be back. I mean, it's been a few weeks now since the nagging injury. And I'm trying to remember on snaps last week. Jeremy, do you remember there?
I don't remember his actual number of snaps, but he did get in.
Okay. Yeah, and I would expect him to be almost back. So that's good. Because he played really good early on this year when he got in there.
Yeah, he's a great size guy that can get in and give some guys some breaks. But this is the time of the season. You're 7-0. There's a lot of nagging things. People are sore. You're banged up. That's expected, but it's nice to have the depth. On the offensive side of the ball, really you got to talk about a couple of guys. You get Tolly Walker back. His was not an injury situation, so he's 100%. Expect to see quite a bit of him along with Sawchuk. Major has been nursing that shoulder injury. If you notice, he always kind of wears that wrap up there. How much he goes, I think that's up in the air. He had 18 carries last week for 82 yards, so had a pretty good showing despite being banged up. I expect to see him, in there occasionally for sure. Again, I don't know how much, but a guy that came onto the field last week, and then there was like a UCF guy either cramped up or there was a timeout, so he came back off, was Javante Barnes. So I don't know how close Javante Barnes is to being out there. It could be something to keep an eye on, though.
Yeah, and if he's getting better and ready, to me, I think everybody who's an OU fan or who does anything with OU in the offseason thought Barnes and Sawchuk were kind of the bell cows for these running back room. And Sawchuk last week, fourth quarter, had a great fourth quarter, okay? Horrible start for Sawchuk last week. If you remember the drop screen, I think, and then the snap that he dropped at the Wildcat.
Wildcat.
Yeah. So, but Barnes is a guy. If he's healthy and back, he's gonna play, bar none. Period. I think the reason he hasn't been playing is because of the injury, and I think if he's ready to go and he can, look good on that foot or whatever, I think you're going to see him out there. And to me, if everybody's healthy in that backfield, I think the two you're going to see more of would be Barnes and Sawchuk over Tawee. I think Major is still just not 100%. Tawee, I think Tawee's he's done great, but I think you look at the running back room and the ceiling, I think Barnes and Sawchuk are the two guys that can kind of take you to that level, in my opinion.
You also have the situational kind of aspect of that running back room of who's really performing well at practice. You also have who you're going against. If the weather does get monsoon-like or a lot of rain, I could definitely see you go more Walker, more north-south guy, not one that's going to be juking around. Just get the yards and go. So I think some of that is situational with the running back room. Receiver room, tight end, everything's pretty healthy, right?
Yeah, the only thing I don't know about tight end is Cade McIntyre, if he's fully healthy. It'd be nice if he was. Give Stogner another, because Blake Smith hasn't done a whole lot at that area. But receiver, I don't think there's any issues there. You mentioned Tawee. Tawee would be, if it's a rainy game, he would be a great probably back to be in there. And I remember another running back who I feel like Walker runs a little bit similar to. Samaje Perine broke the NCAA record against Kansas in a monsoon. If you don't remember, 427 rushing yards. So why is it every time OU plays Kansas, the weather seems to suck? Have you noticed that?
It's the time of year that it always is.
They always
That's
play
part
it,
of
yeah.
It.
It's raining or something.
One other thing is not an injury situation, but it kind of was a lineup change. You had Luke Elzinga kind of taking over the punting duties. It was not situational. It was pretty much hey, you're the guy, you're the number one, and he averaged upper 40s or maybe even low 50s.
I think
last
51
week.
yards a kick.
I thought. 51 yards a punt. So great job, Luke Elzinga. Something to keep an eye on. So yeah, there's kind of an injury situation update. So again, if you're not subscribed to our channel, make sure you do that. We will be dropping our OU Kansas Sooner Surge game day tomorrow, and then we'll have plenty of stuff coming this weekend as well as OU takes on the Jayhawks at 11 o'clock on Fox. So there it is. Appreciate you guys watching and being part of the Sooner Surge. Till next time, Boomer.
Sooner.